7 p.m. Call this meeting to order. We can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mayor Gerardo Anaya. Vice Mayor Jesus Roldan.
Present.
Councilmember Miguel Villalpando.
Present.
Councilmember Luis Galindo.
Present.
Councilmember Martha Gonzalez. Present. Councilmember Juan Castillo.
Present.
Councilmember Lorena Delgadillo.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Karin Leon, present. No. Christmas this. Call to the public. Anybody from the public who would like to say something? Do we
I
have
didn't
anybody?
receive any requests.
Okay. Consent agenda. This is for the check register for the month of November 2022. Any motion to approve consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Sendejas.
Second.
Delgadillo. Second by Councilmember Castillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Public hearing. Public hearing and presentation by staff related to rezoning case PLN22-00018, a request by Gustavo Arreola, property owner, to rezone APN 752-07-137 and 11,173 square foot parcel from R3 multifamily residential to C1 neighborhood commercial. And I need a motion to open public hearing.
Make a motion to go into public hearing.
Motion by Councilmember Castillo, second by Councilmember Galindo. Those in favor?
Aye.
Sorry.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and members of council. The item before you on the agenda is rezoning case PLN22-00018, a request by Gustavo Arreola, property owner of the parcel, to rezone APN 752-07137, an 11,173 square foot parcel from R3 multifamily residential to C1 neighborhood commercial. The property that, as shown here on the map, this is the location of it. It's the property tucked behind a single family homes adjacent to the public safety facility. It is currently zoned R3 after it was rezoned some years back. I don't know exactly when it was rezoned, but it was sometime in the last 10 years. But it was previously zoned C1. And the request is for it to go back to the previous C1 zoning. May I have control, Andre? So as I was saying, Vice Mayor and Council, the property is currently zoned C1, sorry, R3, and the proposal is for it to be rezoned to C1. This is a zoning map. The purpose of the rezoning, Mayor and Vice Mayor and Council, is to allow the development of a new office with on-site storage for the Jasmine Furniture Company. Shown is a site plan of what the applicant is proposing on the property. Access off of Cano Street into the property would lead to a parking lot with a 150 square foot office parking, stormwater retention, landscaping, and the rest of the property down here would be used for the storage of temporary storage of inventory for deliveries for the business. So it's not so much a storage yard as it is a more of a deliveries center. Sorry, staging area for their deliveries. And any temporary storage of inventory would be screened from site. That's one of the conditions that we are proposing. That is not, however, shown on the site plan, but we were able to insert that in there. Some nice looking elevations here, showing the driveway off of Cano Street, and then what it would look like on the interior of the property. Any questions so far from the council?
Any questions? Just one question, Sawi. How long has this been just empty? About 10 years? More?
At least at a very minimum 10 years. And then one of the reasons that staff believes that it's sat vacant for so long is because of its irregular shape. And then the zoning, the R3 zoning has some really heavy setbacks that don't allow it to, it makes it really difficult to develop anything with the setbacks of R3. And then that shape, it's a very narrow lot. It doesn't leave you a very big building envelope. So residential development here for multifamily is not really feasible. And then for single family, again, the dimensions of the lot make it really difficult to fit anything functional. So this is why staff believes the lot hasn't been developed as for residential uses. However, this project is an opportunity to fill in this vacant lot as a commercial use, because apparently residential just has been difficult. But yeah, to answer your question, at least 10 years.
Vice Mayor, and just making sure that I understand it correctly. Before it was C1, then it was moved to R3, and now it's being asked to go back to C1, right?
Yes, correct.
What was the original thought process of going back? To putting it R3 when right now when you mentioned all of those challenges.
Councilmember Castillo, I can't elaborate too much on what the rationale was behind the R3 zoning. Perhaps it was, maybe the intent was to develop multifamily, but maybe the strict R3 setbacks at the time, that we have now, didn't exist when they were thinking of this. I believe the setbacks for the R3 district about 10 years ago used to be 5 feet. So they were probably thinking, okay, we can develop with the 5-foot setbacks. Well, the project didn't develop. So here we are with a new zoning ordinance that requires a 15-foot side setback, which essentially leaves you a building envelope about 15 feet wide for this lot. And my guess is that they were hopeful that they would be able to develop some kind of multifamily project on this site. And then another fact about the property is that there's a restriction by the military base there, because it's in the high noise and accident potential zone. So they're limited to 2 units only. So only a duplex can be built on this project. Perhaps the owner maybe was thinking 4 units and above, a 4-plex, and 2 units just didn't make sense to him. And you add that with the strict setbacks and the project just sits there. But the rationale now for it to go to C1 though is, one, it used to be C1, and there's an adjacent property to the north, which is zone C1, which makes it really the only eligible zoning district for this available for this property. And luckily, what the owner has in mind is they can make it work with C1. They don't require the C2 or out of their zonings, which would be more difficult, I believe. Does that adequately answer your question?
Yeah.
More or less.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just wanted to see the thought process.
Yeah, I understand. It's a little, it's a bit irregular I mean, the lot, there's everything about the lot is challenging, but staff is just, we're glad to see that someone's bringing together a possible proposal for the property.
Vice Mayor, I have a question. Was it posted for the neighborhood, for people around the neighborhood to comment and what the new use was for?
Yes, Councilwoman Gonzalez, we had the neighborhood meeting, we sent the notification, we did the publication, and we held the meeting on November 3rd on site. I attended, and along with the property owner, no one from the neighborhood showed up, and I've received no calls in opposition to the project. So we believe there is no opposition from the neighborhood.
Vice Mayor, if I may. Go ahead, Councilman Villalpando. Okay, the previous owner, who was Mr. Victor Lozano, did have plans to develop that property, but I believe one of the main hangups in that development was some issues in regards to driveway access. When he first started building this project out, he had gone before City Council, and his proposal, I believe, might have been denied, or only part of it was accepted. And I remember him coming up to me after the meeting and saying, "Hey, you know what? They didn't allow me to do what he wanted at that time for whatever reason, but that he was wanting to come back." Obviously, he ended up selling it. My problem with them building commercial behind residential is the fact that all these property owners invested their money, and I hate to see what is currently now on Connell Street, right next to the Lupercios, which a lot of us know who the Lupercios are. They have a big metal building. And those are the concerns that I have, that if a metal building is permissible under C1, that it could potentially go there. And there's nothing for us to be able to stop that unless it's not permissible. So for me, it's R3. It was zoned back then R3. They need to find a project that they could put in there versus a commercial. Now we're creating islands and pockets of commercial, and probably inconveniencing all these property owners. You're talking about traffic during the day. Who knows when their deliveries are going to be? If they have deliveries at night, storage, you could potentially have noise and inconveniencing all these property owners who, again, they've invested in that particular area.
Councilmember Villalpando, just to address some of the questions or the concerns that you brought before the council. Currently, metal buildings would not be allowed in C1. So that isn't part of the current proposal. And if it were to come later that they want to do a metal building, it would not be allowed, a big metal shed. Also, the project right now shows a 15-foot buffer, a landscape buffer from the office, the commercial office, and the adjacent residences. So it's really not a very intense operation, as you can tell. It's just a 150 square foot office. You can see it's a small footprint. And when we were doing this public hearing, the neighborhood meeting, I was expecting a little bit more pushback from that neighborhood, but I was surprised that we received none. So that was very encouraging that the neighborhood didn't really oppose the project, it seems. And looking at this site plan, I think this is I believe it's not a very intense commercial use. And it's limited by the C1, the neighborhood commercial. It's not the general commercial. So neighborhood commercial being a little bit more compatible with neighborhoods. And
what's the tallest structure allowed in that C1?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it's the tallest. I believe it's somewhere around 35 feet, but I'd have to check to be sure.
A two-story building, correct? Even though it might not be metal, it could be stucco and wood. So again, you know, my biggest concern is that once we go C1, you're going to inconvenience these property owners who've already invested at least a couple $100,000 in their homes. You're going to obstruct their view and have essentially the same problem that you have on Connell Street.
Sorry, Councilmember Villalpando, perhaps we could insert, or the council could insert an additional condition of approval on the project to having the maximum height of this property be the same as it is currently right now with R3, with the R3 zoning district. That could perhaps be done to alleviate that concern.
Or a single story, just like the houses surrounding it.
Or that too. That
I would be agreeable to, because again, that building over there next to the Lupercios, I mean, I don't know the exact address, and I apologize about that, but that's an eyesore, and that was their biggest complaint back then, was it was obstructing a lot of the view.
Right now it's residential. Somebody can come and build a two-story. Is that allowed? That would obstruct the view. Like you said, if the thing is the eyesore, if you don't like the metal building, then they can do a stucco like you mentioned. But if they bought the property, it's shown C1 right now,
R3.
R3, they can go ahead and build a two-story. We wouldn't be able to stop them and building a two-story because they're gonna obstruct the view of the families around. I think his concern is mainly the noise. If they build one, what kind they will be delivered.
Well, that is correct. You're right. If someone were to come in right now, they could build up to the maximum height allowed in the R3 district, which I believe is also around the same height, around 35 feet. As far as the deliveries, though, the delivery schedule and the operations of the site, I don't have a lot of information on that, but the applicant and the owner are present tonight. If the council would like to address them, ask questions about that, they are here and available. Could you come up here, please?
So I'm Gustavo Arreola. So I'm the owner of the building. And so we were thinking just to really the main focus for this one is to park the trailers for the trailers that we go and pick up the furniture and have the office there. Because if we take this as it is right now, the other option was to do a duplex. And I think it's gonna be more difficult with the neighbors because the cars are gonna have to go inside and the car noise is gonna be, I think, a little bit worse. But yeah, it's just to park the trailers. So we had a storage other places. So, I mean, we had a storage in Yuma, and this is just to park some trailers over there. Yeah, in the office.
Not a lot of noise or.
Yeah, well, we worked from 9 to 4, so that's the schedule. And right at the 9, there is nobody there. Yeah. Okay.
Vice Mayor?
Go ahead.
Well, if that's all they're going to use it for, and we add those restrictions and limitations, I'm all for it. You know, it's a moot point because they're actually not going to add any additional structures. So if that's all they're going to use it for, just to park their vehicles, then I don't see too much of an impact to the neighborhood. And that's quite frankly, as we all know, they don't attend all those meetings. They never do, but once they build it and they don't like it, that's when we hear. So that's why I was advocating on their behalf. But if that's all they're going to do is park their trailers, then we could they could put it in writing. Then I'm all for it.
Any other questions?
I mean, I think as a city, we did our due diligence by sending those notices. You know, we can't control who shows up or who doesn't, and as long as we follow our steps, I mean, I'm good with following the recommendation just to do it as C1.
Is there a motion to close a public hearing?
We have another one.
No, we have to close one and then open the other one? Yeah, they're two different.
No.
Motion to close by Councilwoman Delgadillo. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Castillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Saul.
Thank you.
Public hearing related to rezoning case PLN22-00020, request by Tom Pancrazi on behalf of Perricone, Arizona Properties, AZ LLC, for the rezoning of APN 195-33026 from C1 with Infill Incentive Overlay to C2 with Infill Incentive Overlay. Is there a motion to open public hearing?
Second.
Yeah, by Councilwoman Delgadillo and a second by Councilmember Castillo. All those in favor? Okay. Go ahead, Saul.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Vice Mayor, members of council, the item before you on the agenda is the public hearing for rezoning case PLN22-00020. Request by Tom Pancrazi on behalf of Perricone, Arizona Properties, Arizona LLC for the rezoning of APN 195-33026 from C1 with Infill Incentive Overlay to C2 with Infill Incentive Overlay. Mayor and council, this rezoning case is the 10-acre site south of the Perricone parcel, Perricone Park parcel. It's a 10-acre site, and the proposal, the request is for it to be rezoned from C1 neighborhood commercial to C2 general commercial. Potential uses include a new service station, gas station, and a new quick service restaurant. This is a much larger, more complex project than the one we just previously discussed. There's a lot of moving pieces in this project, a lot of things that we have to consider, staff needs to consider and analyze. And I had a conversation with the applicant earlier, and the applicant, in light of the outcome of the planning and zoning meeting, the recommendation, they'd like to, the applicant as well as staff would like for this project to be as well considered, everything considered, that way it can be as smooth and as effective of a project as it can be. Therefore, staff tonight is asking council to table this item to a future meeting at the request of the applicant in order to allow us a little bit more time to analyze the case, and it will be brought back to you at a future date.
Is there a motion to table the item?
Well, I'm sorry, I apologize.
This
that will be the.
So it'll be the next one. So
That
we just
will be-
close the public
Yes.
hearing.
So
Okay.
hence why I'm not going to elaborate much more on the case, but that will be the eventual recommendation.
Okay. Is there a motion to close the public hearing? Motion by Councilmember Galindo,
Second.
second by Councilmember Castillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
New business, discussion and possible action to approve the rezoning case of PLN 22-00018 with the condition listed in Exhibit A as requested by Gustavo Arreola, property owner, to rezone APN 752-07 11,137, 11,173-foot parcel from R3 multifamily residential to C1 neighborhood commercial. Go ahead.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. The item before you on the agenda, Vice Mayor and members of council, is the action item related to rezoning case PLN22-00018. It is the 11,000 square foot parcel, and the request is for the rezoning from R3 to C1. If there are no further questions for staff, staff's recommended motion for the item is that the Somerton City Council approves rezoning case PLN22-00018 with the conditions listed in Exhibit A. Would the council like me to go over the conditions of approval?
You guys. Anybody?
I would say yes, just to have them on the record.
Okay.
Vice Mayor and Council, there are 4 conditions of approval. 1, 2, and 3 are standard conditions, apply to every zoning case in the city of Somerton. And condition number 4 is a site-specific condition, which says that the owner shall fully screen all unimproved and/or storage areas from view using an approved screening method from the Somerton zoning ordinance. Any part of the lot that is not improved, paved, or landscaping will be required to be screened, including all the parking for their delivery trailers. That is the only site-specific condition that staff has, in addition to the standard conditions.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve rezoning case PLN22-00018 with the conditions listed on Exhibit A.
Motion by Councilmember Galindo,
Second.
second by Councilmember Castillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes. Item number 2, discussion and possible action to approve first reading by title only of the ordinance number 2022-006, an ordinance of the city of Somerton amending ordinance number 2015-002 and rezoning certain areas in the city for real property described herein as APN 752-07-137, an 11,173-foot parcel, more or less, from R3 multifamily residential to C1 neighborhood commercial.
Vice Mayor and Council, an ordinance is required to be adopted in order to fully approve the rezoning, rezoning that I just went over, rezoning case PLN 22-00018. And tonight we are asking for you to approve the first reading by title only of the ordinance approving the rezoning.
Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 2022-006? First by Councilmember.
Hold on, Vice Mayor. It's approval first reading by title only, not approval of the ordinance. That'll come next week or 2 more weeks.
So motion to approve ordinance by first reading by title only. Yeah, Councilmember Galindo, motion, and is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Castillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes. I'll give you the luxury of reading the ordinance.
Thank you. Vice Mayor and Council, this is ordinance number 2022-006, an ordinance of the city of Somerton, amending ordinance number 2015-002 and rezoning certain areas in the city for real property described herein as APN 752-07-137, an 11,173 square foot parcel, more or less, from R3 multifamily residential to C1 neighborhood commercial.
Do we need another motion or?
No, we're done with that one.
Thank you. And we'll be tabling 7.3 and 7.4, right?
Correct.
Okay. Do we need a motion to table those items? Okay. Is there a motion to table Numbers 7.3 and 7.4, new business. Motion by Councilwoman Delgadillo. Second by Councilmember Castillo. All those in favor? Oppose? Motion passes.
Thank you, Vice Mayor and Council.
Okay. 7.5, discussion and possible action to approve change order number 3 with Cemex Construction Materials South LLC for the Parkview Commerce Center improvements project in the amount of $176,028.72. Carmen?
Good evening, Vice Mayor and members of council. The item before you is a request to approve the change order number 3 with Cemex Construction Material. And as part of the background, the Parkview Commerce Center construction project was awarded to Cemex. And our contractor, as of today, has completed several underground items, which are the water, wastewater, and storm drain system. In addition, the contractor completed the subgrade preparation for the future roadway system. In order to avoid material contamination on the roadway base, which is the ABC, and more importantly, to avoid delays on the project, we need to install the underground utilities, the dry utilities. This is APS, CenturyLink, Spectrum, Southwest Gas, etc. These improvements were not considered on the base bid because the underground dry utilities designed by APS was not completed in time until after the project was awarded. So our contractor, Cemex Construction Materials, has been provided with change order number 3 for the installation of the necessary conduits and crossings for the mentioned dry utilities. The proposed change order number 3 amount is $176,000, $176,028.72. Staff at Public Works has analyzed and compared the proposal with the recent bid received by the high school sewer lift station and the electrical service project, and the cost per linear foot of pipe for the lift station project is just over the amount that Cemex is proposing. So we have a very similar numbers with the other company. The recommendation is for City Council to approve change order number 3 with the amount of $176,028.72 for the construction of the Parkview Commerce Center dry utilities improvements. And with that, I would also like to mention that the fiscal impact for this is not to the city because this amount will be paid by the new owners of those subdivisions, those parcels. So they're already aware of this going on. And as soon as we finish the installation, an invoice will be sent with their amount to be paid based on the size of their parcel. So it's not an impact, a fiscal impact to the city directly, as we are going to be reimbursed. Any questions on this?
Any questions? No? Is there a motion to approve?
Vice Mayor, if I may. Just for further, at least for me, for further, when we do these type of projects, I really rather wait until the whole project is completely designed. I think it's a little unfair, especially for the bid process, to submit incomplete projects and then all of a sudden all these change orders are coming up. So from now on, I would like to see from staff is complete projects submitted, so that way we could avoid these type of change orders. Even though we are going to get reimbursed, the city is still having to front the money. So my question is, where is this money coming from, and was this money budgeted?
Vice Mayor and council members, we have already meet with finance department. There is money available in the budget. It wasn't budgeted, obviously, because this is a change order, but since the money is going to be reimbursed to the city, it's just a matter of paying out and then wait for the reimbursement. It was not, and I totally understand Mr. Villalpando's comment. The issue here is the timing, the delay on getting these facilities in ideal world. We have to wait until everything is completed in the design, but we all know that APS will take their time, and so the other utility companies. So just in order for us to move the project forward in a timely manner, sometimes we need to make this type of decisions. But I totally understand, and we try our best not to get into these situations, but sometimes it's unavoidable.
And I have a question.
Go ahead.
And what's the turnaround? Let's say the city's going to put that money. How soon are we going to get it back?
Well, since all of these parcels have been already sold to private investors and they're already closed, all of them, it's just a matter of invoicing. Economic development has already communicated this information to the developers, so they are waiting on the invoices from the city. But we need to wait until we finish.
We're looking at about a month or two at the most.
And no, Councilmember Castillo, we're looking probably about 3 months, the turnaround, because they need to install those crossings, all the conduits and whatnot. So we're looking
they have to be finished before they can invoice, right?
Or we invoice them, yes, yes.
So we'll get our money back within 3 months.
More or less, yes.
Any other questions?
Yeah, well, I'm still not clear where these funds are going to come from. Is this from contingency fund?
Councilmember Villalpando, I can get you that information first thing in the morning and send to all council once finance department gives me that exact location where the line item is the money is coming from.
Parkview Development Fund.
Well, yes, we have all that money it's there. It's allocated at the Parkview Development Fund. This is a change order that is going over to what we have there. So we're gonna pull the money out of there, but then we're gonna need money to bring it in because the contractor is constantly working and sending us invoices.
So Vice Mayor and Council, we have sold 3 lots there, one to Sunset, one to Fontanes, and one to the 4th Avenue Gym. We probably have about $1 million in that fund. We can use some part of that fund to pay for this and then bill those 3 people that we already sold. Obviously, we still have 4 lots left, and so contingent when we sell those lots, we'll get the remainder of the 173. That's what the intent was.
Vice Mayor?
Go ahead.
I understand legal's logic, but what he's failing to understand is that we have line items in our budget, and this money has to come from one of the line items. And I just want to know which line item was going to be affected. Regardless if we have the money or not, there's still going to be an impact on a particular line item, and I'm just trying to figure out what line item the money's going to come from.
Vice Mayor, Councilmember Villalpando, I'm pretty sure it's coming out of contingency because at this time we don't have additional funds anywhere else other than contingency. But unfortunately, finance is not here tonight.
Yeah.
To let us
know. And
exactly.
that answers my question, Ms. Juarez. Thank you. I appreciate that, and I'll make the motion to approve with the money coming out of contingency funding.
There a motion by Councilor Member Villalpando. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Galindo. All those in favor? Against? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carmen. Next will be summary of current events or future agenda items.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and council members. Carmen, you want to
come back?
I was going to try to catch her before yeah. We'll start with our Deputy City Manager report.
Vice Mayor and council members, I am in the process of transitioning to my new position to start working as soon as possible on the list of goals and objectives given by the city manager for my new position. I already have a long list that I need to start working on. By the end of this week, my office will be relocated to the first floor, so I'll be here. Also, I continue working directly as liaison with San Palacios on all of the public works, special projects, and everything that has to do with public works. I have public works too.
Go ahead.
Public works. In regards to the 1 million gallon water tank project, the contractor should complete the inside coating application this week. Excuse me. Our third-party consultant inspector CSI continues performing the coating inspections. Our contractor will start with the exterior tank within the next 2 weeks. For the Parkview Avenue new traffic signal, we are waiting to receive the bid package in order to advertise this project. Core Engineering should submit it this week. And for the high school sewer lift station electrical service project, the pre-construction meeting was performed on Friday, December 9th at 2 p.m. And staff has sent a notice to proceed last week. Contractor should start construction this Tuesday, December 27th. Thank you.
Community development?
Vice Mayor and Council, just 2 items to report. Staff is currently conducting the technical review of the Somerton 1898 final plat. We are expecting to return comments to the engineer in the middle of January. This is for the subdivision to the south of Main Street, adjacent to the new elementary school. And then staff also held a pre-development meeting with representatives from Circle K 2 weeks ago. Circle K is proposing to demolish their existing store in order to build a larger Circle K location at their current location, but using both of their properties, the empty lot and the current lot. The meeting went very well. I felt that they walked away from the meeting with a positive view of Somerton, and they want to continue to be here and continue investing in the community. So we look forward to reviewing a future submittal by them on that project. Thank you. That's all.
Armando, Human Resources?
Good evening, Vice Mayor, council members. Just quickly, this week we're doing interviews for the fire chief position and also for the finance director. The first round of interviews for the finance director. So hopefully we conclude those interviews this week and make a selection. And in addition to that, in the finance department, we recently filled 2 part-time positions. One in particular is a part-time billing specialist that will provide support to the ambulance billing. And in addition to that, another part-time position that will provide support for the customer service part of the finance. And we just recently posted the community development director position. So we're going to be actively recruiting for that position over the next few weeks. And that's it.
Thank you. Chief Juarez?
Good afternoon, Vice Mayor and Council. So Tamale Festival went very good. We had minimal calls for service. I think everybody had a great time and we made it possible for everybody to stay safe. We'll continue to work with the alumni, debrief hopefully here in the next few days so we can address a couple issues. The onboarding for a new academy graduate is happening this week, and then we're gonna have 2 certified officers beginning the following week. So that'll give us three new bodies to be able to help with some of the calls for service. We're still training the 3 dispatchers that we hired this year. So hopefully by February, they'll be done with their training and we'll have a little bit more relief and coverage. And we're working closely with the code enforcement officers and some of the city violations. And he is very active out there. So very minimal complaints. We've been able to address those. But we always knew that once we started enforcing some of the violations, we were going to get some phone calls. But everything seems to be working well. Thank you.
Economic Development, Marlene?
Good evening, Vice Mayor, Council.
Subway is now open. Ribbon cutting ceremony will be held this Thursday, December 22nd at 12 p.m. at the Somerton Valley Plaza, Suite number 7. City of Somerton and the Small Business Development Center at Arizona Western College reminds and encourage residents to buy local this holiday season. There are many restaurants and stores to shop here in the City of Somerton. Thank you.
Chief Fernandez, Fire Department.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and council members. We're going to be hiring 2 full-time staff. One is a current part-time paramedic. He's going to upgrade to full-time. And the other one is an EMT that we hired. He should be coming by the beginning of the year. Also, if you remember from my weeklies in the past, I applied for a grant through WACMS, and it was a partnership between City of San Luis Fire and Somerton for about $12,000 for a training module for our new monitors. We were awarded only $9,000. So that means that San Luis is going to have to put like around $800, and we're going to put another $800, but we're going to get the complete system, and we're going to be sharing it. Depending, either 6 months they'll have it or 3 months, and then now it's 3 months, and we'll rotating, but it will be available to both agencies for us to practice. Also, our calls have started increasing to the border. For a while, it kind of stopped down, but for the last couple of weeks, we've been going there almost on a daily basis. I mentioned this morning that the last call that we had was a 93-year-old male patient that passed away. But like I said, so far we're still being able to handle it, but hopefully it continues this pace and doesn't get overwhelm our agency. Thank you.
And then Parks and Rec, Angelica.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. On December 7th, the Arizona Outdoor Recreation Coordinating Commission of the Arizona State Parks and Trails held a commission meeting and approved Somerton project for $164,495. So on December 15th, the Arizona State Parks Board approved for the same amount. This will be for Perricone Park improvements. We're going to move forward with the project and have soccer fields, restrooms. With a reduction of money, we will have to remove stadium lights from the project. We're continuing working with Arizona State Parks for other funding sources for lights and other improvements. Another item that I have is staff is working with ADOT 5310 grant application for a transportation vehicle. This vehicle will replace one of the older transportation vehicles at the senior center. So this is what I have. And also just to mention, thank you for being at the Light Parade this last Friday. We have around 45 floats participating, and I think it was a great event. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor, council members, that's all we have. And I'll continue to provide you updates on what's going on, those that are more pertinent that you need to know on a daily basis, and then we'll continue with our monthly reports.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
We held the vaccine clinic last Thursday. There were about 41 participants. It was one of our lowest turnouts, but I think maybe because school's out, so that affected it. Our next clinic will be January 19th, same place, same time. Wanting to congratulate Parks for a very nice light parade. Well attended. I think people were looking forward to the light parade. Also congratulate Rodney on that grant. I know he worked really hard on it. And I'm glad that he was able to get the money. I think that's it.
Councilor Castillo.
Just want to say again, kudos to all staff that worked on for the light parade. It was a great turnout. I want to wish all staff, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Spend that time with your loved ones. Time to recharge and come back strong. In the new year. So that's all I have.
Councilwoman Delgadillo.
I also want to thank Lisa and the Parks and Rec staff for the great light parade. I had so much fun. The turnout was amazing. I also want to thank city staff, fire, PD for their assistance in the Tamale Fest. I think the crowd was double than what it was previous years, and I think you guys did an amazing job keeping everyone safe. I also would like to thank the city for allowing me to attend the new council member training, which was great, but left me with quite a few questions that I will be asking the league for clarifications. I met a council member from Duncan, Arizona, and she was telling us about her light parade only having 10 floats, and it was amazing. And so we were...
Let me tell you.
Yeah, so that's what we said. Well, let me tell you about ours. And we have 45 floats. And so we were just talking to her. And I also attended the City Posada, which I want to thank the committee for organizing. It was a great dinner. Thank you so much. And I also want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And please be safe. That's all I have.
Councilmember Villalpando.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and I hope they have an awesome New Year's. Stay safe and hopefully we'll see each other next year.
Councilmember Galindo.
Same thing. I just want to thank the whole city staff because I think this weekend we showed the whole Yuma County and past Yuma County how great the citizens from Somerton can be, and we welcome all people, also people coming into our city.
Councilmember Galindo, can you please turn on your mic?
It was a great weekend, starting with the light parade. I think it was one of the best so far, and then the Tamale Fest was well attended, I think. And it's not just the alumni, I think the whole city participated. I think we are all involved in making this one of the best events and showing our city. And I just want to congratulate everybody and say Merry Christmas, have a nice New Year's y seguir adelante. Dios nos bendiga y a echarle muchas ganas.
And yeah, I got to be part of the parade driving the seniors. They are seniors, but they act like kids, you know, like young kids. It was a good, funny, and you know, at the same time, and I got to see the whole parade, and just to see how many people were actually there, you know, enjoying the parade. And you know, we finished, and I went with my family to see, and he was going and going and going, and so it was nice to see that. I know prior years, you know, we had a couple, and I know because of COVID, they went around the neighborhood, but I think people were looking forward for that. And like Councilmember Galindo, you know, said, you know, he finished with the Tamale Festival, and I came in early to bring my son. He was for the you know, our things that they were doing for school, and just to see the different people, you know, in the morning it was different people, in the afternoon it was totally different people, and just the crowd that it was amazing that, you know, what the city can do. You know, it's not only one department, you know, and not only the ASU alumni. And as a matter of fact, there's, you know, very council members that are involved in various things that they do, you know, in the Diablito. So see, you know, police department, fire department, you know, parks and rec, you know, and everyone doing their share, you know, and I think it shows off, you know, what we're here, what we're about, you know, a good team. The departments that got the grants, congratulations, you know, keep it going. Okay. And also I saw the videos for the buy locally. I think the interview Dragon de Oro. It was nice to see where they come from, when they started and how they started with El Dragon de Oro and all that. So I think that tells each of them, you know, have their own story, but I think it gets to you, you know, because at that time when they were talking, I think that's when the time that my family got here, you know, with my parents. We go back, you know, to all those. So it was nice. The updates, I know you talk about those updates that you do, you know, thank you for the text and the also the email, because you see the text, you automatically go to the email, because their email, sometimes you don't see it until later you get home or maybe the next day or so. But once you get the text, then you automatically go to check your email. And the same Merry Christmas to all. And you know, from the mayor, you know, the same, you know, he couldn't be here today, but I mean, I think all of us here, are in the same boat of wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Keep working together. I think, we're the same goal is to be the best continue being the best little city in Arizona. So thank you. And it's 7:55, meeting adjourned. I always wanted to do that.